Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Dozens of House Republicans joined Democrats in a failed bid to override President Trump's two vetoes. One measure backed a water project in eastern Colorado, but both votes fell short of the two-thirds threshold. The House passed a bill to extend Affordable Care Act premium subsidies for 3 more years, keeping marketplace plans cheaper for millions. It now heads to the Senate, where the outcome is uncertain. Governor Tim Walz authorized the National Guard to stage after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis this week. The Guard will support police protecting critical infrastructure as the FBI investigates. 2 federal agents were shot in Portland, Oregon during an operation this week, according to law enforcement sources. Authorities said the agents were taken to a hospital and the investigation is ongoing. A coalition of states sued the Trump administration over a freeze on $10 billion in HHS grants, including child care funding. They're asking a federal judge to restore payments as the lawsuit proceeds. Federal officials released new dietary guidelines this week, urging Americans to cut highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates. The guidance emphasizes whole foods and higher protein meals, and it will guide federal nutrition programs. Iran's government sharply restricted internet access nationwide as protests spread in several cities this week. Monitoring groups said the blackout disrupted messaging and payments, and activists said it made organizing and sharing videos harder. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Police in Salt Lake City said 2 people were killed and 6 wounded when an altercation outside a funeral turned into gunfire Wednesday. A manhunt is underway, and 3 victims remain in critical condition. Rep. Steny Hoyer said this week he will retire at the end of his term and won't run in 2026. The 86-year-old Democrat has served in the House since 1981 and held senior posts. Gov. Kathy Hochul and Mayor Zohran Mamdani announced child care for 2-year-olds in New York City starting in September. The state will fund the first 2 years, with citywide expansion by 2029-30. A federal judge in New York disqualified acting U.S. Attorney John Sarcone III from investigations involving Attorney General Letitia James, ruling he was unlawfully in the job. The court also quashed subpoenas he issued. After days of threats, President Trump invited Colombia's President Gustavo Petro to the White House for talks, officials said Thursday. Petro said the call was respectful and he wants to restart U.S.-Colombia dialogue. The administration kept an oil blockade on Venezuela this week and told Delcy Rodriguez to cut ties with China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba. U.S. officials said Caracas could run out of cash within weeks. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signed a bell-to-bell cell phone ban for public schools on Thursday. Students will be barred from using internet-connected devices during the school day, starting in the 2026-27 school year. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Defense shares jumped in the U.S. and Europe after President Trump called for a $1.5 trillion 2027 military budget. He also ordered contractors to curb buybacks and speed production. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson warned mid-year layoffs could follow a council budget passed over his objections. He questioned revenue projections, including video gaming, as the city faces a lawsuit over a sports betting tax. Queens Assemblymember Claire Valdez launched a Democratic primary bid for New York's 7th Congressional District to succeed Reps. Nydia Velázquez. She'll face Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso in a heavily Democratic seat. Gov. Gavin Newsom proposed shifting oversight of California's Department of Education into the executive branch under the State Board of Education. He also wants to strengthen the elected superintendent's role to align policy statewide. Chicago police issued a community alert after 2 related strong-arm robberies in the Dunning and Schorsch Village neighborhoods in late December. Detectives say a male suspect took phones and cash and ran. Lockheed Martin delivered a record 191 F-35 jets in 2025, topping the previous mark of 142. The program also logged 1 million flight hours and finished the TR-3 software upgrade. The Trump administration gave the Smithsonian until John 13 to turn over documents for a White House review of programming at 8 museums. Officials hinted future federal funding could depend on compliance. The Trump administration rolled back environmental review rules to speed permitting for infrastructure projects. Critics say the changes reduce public input and weaken oversight under the National Environmental Policy